All right, guys. So as you guys can see that these documents are being flashed across the screen, you guys can pause to look at them at any given time. And I just wanted you guys to really get a sense of how many documents there actually were, so that you guys can see that I mean business. And I will gladly go into detail of everything that I'm flashing up here on the screen at a later date if you guys really want to see and learn about what I went through, what I experienced with this woman, and why I urge anybody to stay away from the Carroll Law Firm in Fort Lauderdale. If you see her pictures, see her name, that's why I'm blasting it all over the place. Do not waste your money, guys. Do not waste your money. She has done irreparable damage to my marriage, to my family unit, by playing in being a part of this charade that only tears a family apart even further than a divorce already does. This was not handled with any grace or humility at all. This was honestly the biggest witch hunt since Donald Trump. Like, this is, or the investigation of Donald Trump. Like, this is so bad. And I can't even believe that a professional, or somebody who claims to be a professional, and this is why I just question 25 years of experience, really? 25 years of experience doing what? I just feel so, I just can't even believe it. That's really what it boils down to. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I have absolutely no, I just can't even fathom that a human being would do this much, go this far, try this hard. And it just makes me sick to my stomach to think that there are human beings out there that would really do this to a family, to someone who honestly didn't really deserve any of this. You came into a situation with a person that was doing parental alienation, that was well into it by the time you started representing her, and you kept it going, knowing that we were legally married and that it was wrong, and that you would have to defend her all the way until the end so that she could get the best possible result in this case. And you did so terribly. And I feel as if not only should she get every dime that she spent back, if she spent any money at all, it's just bad. Hi guys, Christian Sal's back for another video. So, I wanted to start off the video with the documents, just like an overview of them so that people can see them, like obviously not in full detail. I probably will do that at some point, but for right now, I just wanted to give a glimpse of the documents in which I was referring so that you guys can sort of kind of follow along, and maybe you guys can even pause the video and read some of the information. I'm not exactly sure, just by the way that, you know, iMovie puts the documents together, which is fine. That's the way I want it. I don't really need it looked at thoroughly, because then there would be no point in me reading it off to you guys and like explaining you guys piece by piece, document by document, what exactly was going through my head while reading it. And I guess the best way to go about this is to really start from where we are now. And I mean, that's literally all I can do, is start exactly where we are now, because that's what makes the most sense in this particular situation. So in the beginning, I was maybe like not as open to discussing the nuances of everything going on until it was over with, because I don't want to be caught in the middle of litigation with this individual and have information going out in the present time, if that makes sense. It still is very much present because all this stuff is happening back to back. But the fact that she's no longer representing my wife, it makes it easier to produce these videos because there's gonna be no new information from Serena Carroll specifically, or the Carroll Law Firm LLC specifically. So it makes it kind of easy for me to, what's the word? You know, go through the documents and pick which ones of most importance and then discuss them from the legal point of view, and just the, not just the legal point of view, but the practical point of view too, because what some of you guys may understand or may not understand about the way law works and the way things happen in a courtroom is everything is about evidence, 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 and process and procedure. So you can't say, you know, he said this or she said that, and this is why I did blah, blah, blah. That's not a legal argument because A, you can't tell the judge or anybody within, you know, a court or legal proceeding or session what someone else said because it's hearsay. You have to have it documented in some way, whether that's in video form or on like a scripted, written, typed somewhere, that from a source that can verifiably be confirmed as coming from that individual, so that it would be a direct quote. It cannot be, well, I believe this is what he said to me. No, you can't do that because that's not evidence. That's not fact. And what Serena Carroll bases all of her stuff on is if and maybe and how and somehow and, well, she told me this and I believe it went down this way. And you see the problem with attorneys in most cases, nobody is going to know your case better than you, especially in these family cases and the divorces and these particular situations. They get tense and stressful, and it's hard for a regular human being to go through this year after year. Unfortunately, I'm not regular. So I have a high tolerance for bullshit, and that's what she's been dishing out to the court for years. It's just bullshit, unsupported nonsense, just nonsensical foolishness that has no basis in fact or reality. That is your job as the attorney, to put it in terms of legal parameters and legal prowess. If you cannot do that, if you cannot solve that, then you suck at your job. That's the way that that works. So it's not, it's not that, well, she wants to blame everything on my wife and say that she was the one who kind of like okayed it and made it okay. But you're the one that's making the dollar off the client. You're the one that's supposed to be putting all the ducks in a row to make things a more peaceful, you know, smooth, seamless case. You're supposed to be building an open and shut case for your client. And you can't do that. And it's clear you can't do that. When you bring in a whole bunch of ifs, ands, thens, buts, assumptions, because you physically weren't there and you literally do not know, don't pretend that you do, because then what ends up happening is you have to prove that legally. So there's no, well, I thought, no, you need to know. And Serena Carroll never knew anything. I don't know if it was because my wife purposely was leaving out information, or, you know, my wife is obviously not the sharpest tool in the shed either. So clearly there are, you know, it's the blind leading the blind, just two idiots doing whatever, you know. And it's a shame that I am wording it this way, because clearly I love my wife, but I know what she can and cannot do. I know what my wife is and is not capable of. I just do. So it's not a slam. It's not a put down. It's not a insult, if any. And she even knew that there was no way possible that her on her own would be able to beat me in my legal mind. She knew that. She knows this. That's why she went to get an attorney to begin with. Because I am a record keeper and I'm a fact checker. And if you said something happened on December 14th at 10 p.m. and that's not what happened, you know, I'm going to go back to that date and time and I'm going to pull up why it didn't happen and why it's not possible for that to have happened on that date and at that time. I keep an alibi. I keep all types of things, because that is what proves your case and creates an undeniable level of credibility. What you don't want to lose in the court of law is your credibility. Serena Carroll lost her credibility every time she opened up her mouth. As an attorney, if you don't keep these facts together and, you know, seamless, then you're going to run into the same problems, effectively, that she ran into. You just are. And I hate to put it this way. I really do hate to put it this way. But it couldn't have been, or this can't be any more true than how I'm wording it. So, like I said in the last video, she made it very clear, I'm sticking by my client and blah, blah, blah. Now, I knew that my wife was getting in trouble for the things that she would do and communicate with me and the things that she would say, because my wife is good at digging her own grave. That's what she's been doing. Every time she opened up her mouth, she dug a bigger hole, a deeper hole for herself, which maybe in time would have been able to be undone. But because she kept putting her foot in her mouth, and still to this day, she continues to put her foot in her mouth, you're gonna lose your case quicker, because you keep trying to beat me at my own game. Every time you try to prove some silly point to me, it has the opposite effect, because you end up saying something you have no business, and then it works to my advantage because you can't control your emotions. I mean, is that a calculated approach? No, not really. I just know my wife. She can't not respond to something. She just can't. She doesn't have it in her. And that has worked to her deficit in this whole situation. The less you say, the less they have to go off of. Nobody can make a decision based on a conversation between two people when one party has said the least. Because you won't even know, like, well, we're hearing you, but we're not really hearing you. Okay? And so nobody can get a general sense of the picture if the other party doesn't talk. So it's not the fact that my wife is talking, it's the fact that she's saying the wrong things. And she continues to say the wrong things. anytime she begs me for something or to be present or to do something or to, you're saying the wrong things. Because what ends up being used to my advantage is the fact that you think I should be doing XYZ. And then I point out why I don't have to do XYZ, which in turn makes you look like the idiot. Even though she knows in her heart of hearts, I don't owe her anything. I don't owe her nothing. She's not helping me. You see, and so when she puts these things out there, it's like, you're not helping me, you're not doing this, you're not, and are you helping me? When I have my son, and she's supposed to be calling me every day. She doesn't call me every day like she's supposed to when I have my son. When I had him for that whole, what was that, winter break? She didn't call him. She didn't call him once. She didn't care. So it's kind of like, you're not asking me if he's okay. Does he need juice? Does he need, what does he need? Like, you know, is he good on clothes? Or you're not asking me any of that. But yet you expect me to ask you those questions when he's with you, and you don't even return the same favor? It just simply doesn't work that way. It's a flawed way of thinking when you automatically assume that somebody owes you, anybody owes you anything. I have a hard time believing that she's that foolish. I'm gonna get into the documents right now, and I'm gonna just read some things over. And we're gonna have a talk about it, and we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty in the next scene. I just want to get to that so you understand the breakdown of why Miss Carroll withdrew and why she lost, essentially, to me. When you withdraw, you lose the battle. You just do. You lost. And so it's my job, I guess, to clear or fill you guys in on the history and the structure as to what all went into why she lost and why she couldn't maintain her sense of professionalism. Okay? So, in full transparency, this is the document. This was her response to what I filed when I filed the Florida Bar complaint. This is her. Okay. Not to mention, you see all the errors in this document? So this is her response to my complaint. See, as you can see. Okay. So that's all the information there. Never, ever, ever, ever hire her. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this out loud just so you guys know. Okay. So on June 30th, a notice of appearance was filed on the behalf of Akaya Charles for representation in the second of 3 dissolution matters filed by Mr. Stiles, formerly known as Christian Gianti. So that's incorrect. That's not what my former name was, but okay. So I did not represent Miss Charles prior to that date. I do continue to represent Miss Charles to this date. In Mr. Stiles' cover page in page 1, Mr. Stiles in part stated regarding that representation, offenses involve purposeful dishonesty, breach of trust, and interference with administration of justice. I represent his wife. I have represented her as she has asked within the statutes of Florida law. I have not lied to her or on her behalf or breached my client's trust. That's a flat-out lie, which you'll learn to find out in due time. Mr. Stiles further states by doing such things like that, by taking a page from a document, which she did this with the parenting plan. So at the bottom of the parenting plan, where the one that I drew up, there was a signature page. And then she did her own separate one. She took my signature page and slapped it on the one that she crafted, which is fraud. So she's saying here that she didn't do that, which that's a lie. And that I take a signature page from one document and add it to another for filing for any reason, whether my client or an opposing party. That's a flat-out lie. There is not one to be provided with this complaint. So she's saying that I didn't provide the evidence and all that jazz, but I don't really need to provide the evidence if I sent an email the morning after you did it. Like, actually, as soon as I saw it, I sent the email to the judge's assistant and I showed him both copies. The copy that I did and the copy that she did. The copy that I did had my signature on it, and that's what I expected to be submitted into the court. She did her own and took my signature page and then submitted it. So the fact that all this stuff can be proven is another reason why she withdrew, because obviously I'm bringing it to light. The cover letter alleges that I have filed questionable things in an attempt to defraud and aid and abet a criminal crime. All pleadings filed in this matter has been at the behest of my client, with facts both provided by and, when necessary, verified by my client. Okay, so she's basically calling my wife a liar because all of the stuff that she was giving her to file was all BS. There are no criminal charging pending against Ms. Charles, not yet. Mr. Stiles also stated that I overstep and demand he do things, and threatened him with attempting to take his time sharing away if he does not comply with the parenting plan, which I will show you guys that email. That's exactly what she said. I will gladly show you guys that email. He has added what I believe to be a screenshot of an email dated December 12th with no year. Obviously, it was 2024, you dipshit. If it's fucking January, let's go up to the top. January 26th. I'm filming this video in February, 2 days after Valentine's Day. Like, is this bitch stupid? So, December 12th with no year. He states that I have threatened him and advised my client to break a court order, which she did, as I would have with any opposing counsel or any opposing pro se litigant. I emailed Mr. Stiles that if, when the child was with him, the court ordered parenting plan to be continued or continued to be violated, I would file a motion. That's not at all what the email said. And it's so funny that she's lying about it when they can see the evidence, because I submitted the email. You know what? Let me pause real quick. Let me see if I can find that email. So this is one of the emails where she's literally telling me what to do, which she doesn't have any right to do because she's not my attorney. So Mr. Stiles, my client, would like to continue this as soon as possible. And as you don't have counsel, it is in your best interest to read the rules and statutes of the court, as if I don't do that. You are filing pleadings that do not exist, and they will not be heard. You have a right to be heard, but the pleadings must comply with the Florida statutes and rules. There is a case manager for pro se litigants if it may be helpful to you to contact them. So is that not her telling me what to do? Because I'm pretty sure that's her telling me what to do. Pause. And here we go again with her making more demands and literally telling me that she's going to tell her client to break the order. December 12th, this is the one that she was referring to. Mr. Stiles, as you know, you guys have been using Talking Parents to communicate with your child and my client regarding child-related issues. That's not what the app is for. It's called Talking Parents for a reason. My client says that you stated that you are no longer going to use Talking Parents. Yes, because it costs money, and I don't want to do it. If I don't have to use it, I'm not using it. It costs money to use, so yeah. Talking Parents is free on a computer. Yes, it is for the typing version. But because my child can't text me back, I need the audio and video recording phone calls, which cost a premium of $30 a month. So there can be no reason not to continue using it, as if she knows. She's never logged on, she's never tried, she's never looked it up, she's never done any of the research that she should have done before opening her mouth. And since there is such volatility, my client will continue to only use Talking Parents for communication. That's not the case either, because she hits me up in email, text message, block numbers, block phone calls for sex and other interactions all the time, because we live in the same complex. So what are you talking about? Like, please be advised, if you do not allow the child to speak with his mother on Talking Parents during your time sharing with you, I will advise my client not to send him and file a motion with the court. Okay, so you advising her not to send him, first of all, is breaking the court order. You have to file a court order. You have to file a motion, have that motion be heard in front of the judge before you can stop someone's time sharing. It has to be approved by the court. She does not have the right to determine what happens thereafter. Like, you have no say whatsoever until you hear from the judge. The judge makes the final decision. The court themselves makes the decision, not some low-rent budget attorney that doesn't know her right foot from her left making these kinds of decisions. It just doesn't work that way. It is the holidays, and no one wants to miss speaking with their child, even if it is on Talking Parents, definitely not actual time sharing. I understand you have decided to forego last weekend because you had pink eye. Hopefully you feel better. So you see how she throws stuff in that has nothing to do with her? If I'm having a health crisis or whatever, and I don't want to expose my child to it, and I give up one of my weeks because I want to be the healthiest I can possibly be, isn't that putting my child first? How about that is what you say to me, but you don't ask me about personal matters so that you can use that to your advantage the next time you're in a court. So she flat out just lied, and even though you can clearly tell the tone of this, I just find this hilarious. So let me go back to her response. Mr. Stiles does not state that he continued to have his time sharing even while he was violating the parenting plan after that correspondence. So by me choosing not to come out of pocket is not violating any parenting order, especially when the app is called Talking Parents. It is for two adults that can't correspond properly with one another without the interference of court and or supervision. That's what it says on their website. That is what it is for. It is not for parent-child communication. I have an iPhone. She can FaceTime me. This video is being filmed on a Pro Max iPhone in 4K. So I spend all this money on a phone. She can FaceTime me because she has an iPhone that I paid for as well, which I can show you the receipt for that iPhone 12 as well. So you broke your phone, I replace it. Okay, so here we go. So Mr. Stiles further alleged in the cover letter that I have taken personal shots at him in court pleadings and private emails. Yes, and I just showed you a couple of them, but she's called me broke and uneducated and, you know, all these things live on Zoom. Like, yeah, you're professional. And and that I have lied to justices' faces. Maria Weeks, Justice Maria Weeks, you lied to her face multiple times. Our judge, Christopher Wiglin, you lied to his face, and he's called you out, talking about you had a hearing with Judge Bussier. Then he looked it up, and he said there was no hearing for Judge Bussier, so you lied straight to my face. He literally looked it up, like, you're not on his docket anywhere. I don't see you anywhere on his stuff. Then she lied about having a hip replacement, and that's why she couldn't show up to court. But you're saying that your schedule is completely full and you have to be here, there, and everywhere, but you just got a hip replacement? Shouldn't you be at home on bed rest, sitting down somewhere, not in your office in downtown Fort Lauderdale? So my thing is, you got out of your house, you got in your car, you left, you drove. Your legs move with your hips and the alignment and your bones there. You wouldn't be able to do half of those motions if you had just gotten your hip replaced. And you know how I know that? Because I actually know elderly people in their 70s who have gotten their hip replaced and is not as mobile as she is. So just continue to lie. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Who did you think you were fooling? Because the judge clearly didn't fall for it. He called her out immediately. Then that her court pleadings, every court filing is false and misleading statements. That is true. Failing to disclose relevant facts. That is true. Then claiming ignorance when called out on Zoom by the judge or himself. That's true. Should be, well, maybe I got that wrong. No, you got it entirely wrong, and you know you did, and you know it doesn't make sense once you're called out for it. So anybody that would pay to be perceived as a liar and a deceptive human being would pay for this woman's services is just beyond me. I just don't understand. Because she's clearly not the brightest, and every single adult around me is saying the exact same thing. Anybody who's read her documents, just even the one I'm reading now, just an idiot. There are no transcripts attached or records. There's no transcripts or records attached to half the things that you file, but yet you present them to the court as fact. Hold on. So there are no transcripts attached or record of me claiming ignorance and being called out by the judge or himself. The Zoom court hearings are recorded. They can be brought back up at any given time because it's electronic, so that the judge has record of all of those court meetings. So what do you mean there's no transcript? If I were to really dig deep and ask for that to be produced, the courthouse could absolutely produce it because everything is done on Zoom. So, and I'm not claimed ignorance in any hearing in either of the matters filed by Mr. Stiles or the judge. More bullshit. As to my emails, I do not know what Mr. Stiles means by private emails or taking personal shots. The emails will be addressed in the formal complaint. Okay, where? Because I submitted all my evidence and put them in mine, so I don't understand why she didn't do that. Mr. Stiles asserts that I have attacked the petitioner. Okay, she didn't have to say this twice. Yes, the petitioner is me. It's my case. So you see how this doesn't make sense? Petitioner asserts that I have attacked the petitioner. I am the petitioner. Mr. Stiles asserts that I have attacked him because I have a fear of losing due to the lack of factual evidence, which is true, and she did lose because she withdrew. Mr. Stiles does not provide record or transcripts regarding an attack. Really? Every email she's ever sent me, I didn't include all of them, but I'm sure that I will at some point go over them in these videos. I have not been admonished by the court for attacking Mr. Stiles. Yes, yeah, the judge has told us to turn down our temperature and that we weren't going to go back and forth several times during the court hearing, because she would get on there and want to speak before I even said anything. No, sweetie, you are the undersigned attorney for the respondent. I am the petitioner. I speak first. It is my case. You sit and keep your mouth shut until you're called upon. Or in pleadings. There has been no attacks against Mr. Stiles. How many times are you going to say that? Mr. Stiles does not have any knowledge of my mindset or emotions or state that I am fear, but isn't that the exact thing that you do? You try and put things in words in my mouth, trying to guess what my mindset is and my emotions and my state of mind. I am not in fear as I represent the facts presented to me in pleading, presented to her. But yet my wife never really reads it, because if she did, she'd pick out all the flaws in the document. She might not be the smartest, but she's not dumb by any means. She's read a book or two. She's in the medical field. She can read. So you mean to tell me she saw that and was like, yeah, this makes sense. And court by my client, there has not been a time in this matter or previous dissolution matters where Mr. Stiles has proven that my client was untruthful in her testimony and or pleadings, because they haven't been heard by the judge. None of them. Nothing that I have pointed out has been called out, has been heard by the judge at all. None of my motions have been heard. So what do you mean? And it's like, if you were to look inside the portal online, which I'll probably show you guys, you can clearly see that. In response to the Florida Bar complaint on page 4, Mr. Stiles' complaint alleges that I have overstepped his boundaries in emails, one of which was addressed above in the motion for supervised time sharing and psychological evaluation of the petitioner and attorney's fees and costs and other filings in poor taste, which is true, because again, asking someone for a psychological evaluation, isn't that trying to determine the mindset and or emotions of the state that that individual is in? But you're saying that I have no knowledge of it. So how do you know what's in my head to be asking for a psychological evaluation? And if Akaya is asking for that, she's a fucking idiot, because she's the one that really has the mental disorder. And I know the information on that. So if I really wanted to let her personal medical business fly, I could. But it would do me no good, because it can clearly be seen every time she opens her mouth that she's not all the way there. The pleadings that are filed in this matter are the request of my client with facts provided by my client. See, facts with events, with things, with alleged assumptions provided by my client is what that should have said, and verified by my client. My client has requested and provided the facts in each and every pleading filed. No, she has not. If she did, this wouldn't be a conversation. Mr. Stiles claims that I attacked his character and defamed him, knowingly being truthful, and filed inappropriate requests such as psychological evaluation, then trying to pin it on my client, which that's exactly what you're doing. Ms. Charles verified the motions. Yes, you probably said sign this, and she's an idiot and signed it without even reading it. And I know this because I'm married to the individual. Like, I know her better than anybody. There are rules and statutes and laws that cause to provide for when a psychological evaluation should be ordered. Okay? And you're the one who told her that it was a good idea to ask for one. And if it wasn't a good idea or wasn't in her best interest, it wouldn't be possible, it shouldn't have crossed your mind to even do it. You would have asked for something else. But you guys are on this kick trying to get you to prove, like, do I seem incoherent in any way? Do I sound like Biden? Do I not know what day it is? Do I stumble over my words? Do you really think that anything cognitively is wrong with me? Like, just based on all of my videos and my pages and the way I run a successful business and carry myself with class and humility, do you really think, like, that any sane thinking human being is going to think there's something wrong with me? Get out of here. So, you know, and then, it just goes on. I don't want to go too much into detail because this video is already too long, but I just wanted to give you guys a prime example of some of this stuff. So I am urging anybody, do not hire the Carroll Law Firm, or whatever she's calling her little one-woman business, one-man show, clown circus thing she does, and calling it practicing law. Anyways, don't hire her. If you're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Broward County, Palm Beach County, if you see her name anywhere, don't even bother. Make sure you read the reviews of everybody that you try and hire. I want to make sure that these videos are out there to the public before I make the official review underneath her business pages and whatnot. I want to make sure so that people have a reference to go by, what type of work this woman actually does and what she's really all about. And just my personal experience video is not coming out. This is just bits and pieces about my life and my divorce, and these are updates based on the divorce. It's not really so much about, you know, Serena Carroll and her, you know, her disbarment is pending. Just, it's not really about her. It's about me and the fact that I don't have to deal with this woman anymore, and it's a big part of my life, so I'm going to document it. But the way that I am just so thrilled I mean, that she finally saw the light. And I was going to make this point earlier. So when I read that she withdrew and the way that she crafted that document, as I showed you guys in the last video, it's funny to me because I know what it is, what conversation had to have been had before she decided to withdraw. She had a conversation, probably a very stern one, with Akaya, basically saying that you're an idiot. I keep telling you not to do things. You keep doing them. You're making it impossible for me to get my footing and to make a case for you, and you keep doing the opposite of what you're told, which is making it very hard because you keep saying things, you keep doing things that are not helping you in this matter. It's actually weakening your point of view, so on and so forth. So now this is attorney number 2 that she's lost, that just quit on her in the middle because she is incapable. When she was trying to go after me for the temporary restraining order, trying to say that I was abusive and dangerous and all this kind of stuff, and she's still using that rhetoric. She used Serena Carroll to try and get that point across as well, and it just, you know, just doesn't happen. It just doesn't work, and it never did work, and it's not gonna work. So when I had this conversation with the Joseph Law Firm, it was almost the similar experience where I was like, I don't want to say that there was issues in our communication, because there wasn't. They were communicating themselves pretty well on what they wanted to do with the case and how they wanted to represent me. I just wasn't comfortable with how slow and slothful I felt that was going to be, because I was so anxious to get this over with and to prove a point and to be done, and, you know, that I had the more expensive attorney, and, you know, that I had the more known attorney. Like, even they were like, Serena Carroll, who the fuck is that? I've never even seen her, heard, like, you know, she must be some joke. And when you read her website, it's so plain Jane. It's so just ridiculous. It's just, it looks unprofessional. It looks like a child did it. And 25 years of experience, 25 years of pretending is what that is. Not, she is a joke. She's the biggest joke. And that's why the thumbnail is what it is. And you know, she's just a joke. So I want to make sure that people look this up, okay, and do your research on people before you hire them. And I hope that this video helps anybody. And to hire me instead, Gladiator in a Suit LLC, I will get you the result that you need versus somebody like that. And I don't even, you know, pretend to be a practicing attorney. I just am a very, very smart human being that knows how to speak and align facts and make someone look good in the court of law. I mean, I'm doing it for myself because nobody knows your case better than you. And so I am here to help pro se litigants, not somebody who wants like a full-blown attorney to do things for them and on their behalf. I want someone who cannot afford the fees of a full-on attorney to use me to craft their documents and to help them prove specific points that they otherwise can't articulate themselves on paper or otherwise. So that's what I do. So there's difference between our styles. But anyways, I still win, hands down. I'll always win. If you guys, and how stupid my wife must feel now that her second attorney has quit. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button, share with your friends, comment, subscribe. You can go do whatever you guys want. Spam her page, spam her life. I don't care what you guys do on my behalf. If that's what you guys want to do, go ahead, fine. But it's, you know, anyways, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, hit all, so you guys get notified every time I upload a new video. And as I always say, guys, stay perfectly imperfect, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.